All right. So this is kind of a new idea that I was just thinking about, and I kind of wanted to just make a video about it. Like it just popped into my head. So I kind of want to talk about like how to play pacing and different kind of comp strategy. I'm taking a look at Breeze right now just because this is kind of what popped in my head and this is what started thinking about it. So it's just gonna be more natural for me to talk about it here. But the same rule applies to kind of every map, whether you're defaulting five manning, 3-2 stacking. There's a certain kind of flow that all these comps kind of follow. And this video might be a little like it might be a little boring just because we're talking about bare bones strategy and theory here. So, but if it's not, just give me some feedback. I wanna hear what you guys think about this because I would be totally down to indulge in more episodes along the series. So just let me know. But besides that, let's hop right into it. So in this particular round, we were doing a 2-1-2 split. So we have two mid, one elbow, and then two pushing B. So as you guys can see, we're running a double initiator comp. So we have Sova, Sky, and then we have Viper and Sage. So we don't have two duelists. So like normally, I think that a lot of people think that duelists should go in entry site. So I'm playing elbow here because mid space is really important on Breeze. And so as these guys try to fight mid, and we're all trying to fight mid control, you can see that they have three support here for mid. So Reyna can go ahead and just pop in the arch here, support. You have Sova up here. You have Sky mid doors, and this actually like puts on a lot of pressure. And these guys were actually throwing like a lot of kind of like toxic, not like toxic, but sorry, I was reading the screen, but from Viper. But they actually were throwing a lot of aggressive util from mid. So they were throwing like walls like this, and then just Sky flashing out, something like that. But they would really change what they did every round. So I thought that was well put by them. Anyway, before I get too off track, kind of like my idea with putting Jet elbow and like why would you not put Jet on site is because like this is an extremely important spot where you need to either win this gunfight or have the ability to get out. Sky's a pretty good alternative here as well. But you don't want Sky playing alone because it removes like one aspect of her utility kit, which is the heal. So if you team up like a Sky with an agent, so we have a Viper because that Viper can lay down wall for CT in the event that we take site, which I think that's what we ended up doing in this particular round. Then that's an option. So Jet mid on elbow here is extremely strong. Like yes, Jet can entry, except that when you're running a 2-1-2 split, even if this was swapped, like Jet's whole purpose of playing aggressive just doesn't make sense. Like it's not about smoking and dashing on the B site here. Like yeah, that could create a lot of pressure, but then you have Viper rotating to come hit this, and you don't want to do that. Like every round, you need to change up the pacing so you're unpredictable because keeping Viper here on A is essential to this strat working because this allows us to one. I get the ice play on Sova, and this is an advantageous fight for me because I can dash out. I have Jet. Sova doesn't want to take this, but he did in this case because we had so much mid pressure coming from our Sova moved up, our Sage moved up. This gets pressed. We get the Sky, and then they just roll up mid like because Viper rotated back CT to support the Sova, who I ended up fragging. So he's out. She's out. Now Viper's delayed here. She can't peek because you're not gonna peek into this kind of a stack. Like you could play this off angle, but she didn't in this case, just because I think that they were overwhelmed, and we ended up working up our way onto site here, kind of like this, and they ended up falling back and playing a 3v5 retake. I ended up smoking the cross, and then we just all pushed up, and we set up for post plant. They got a couple picks. I think it probably looked something a little bit more like this, where this ended up being the play, and then I got picked off by the cipher. But what this does is it creates when you change up your pacing, you go from five stacking and having that duelist entry. Like they're forced to back out, but playing a default can give you a different kind of man advantage. Like you see that here we're up 4-3 and we're in a very strong position where we have very useful utility kit still alive. Spike ends up going default here. Um, and like I was thinking about this whole mentality that duelists have to entry frag, and that's not it. Like you just have to play differently when you put a Jet on elbow, for instance. You can't just have this mentality of rushing in and getting on site. Like mid to low elo, it's all about it's just all about pushing on as fast as you can. And you guys got to understand that there's different ways to pace out the game. There's different ways to put yourself in positions to isolate these gunfights. And this is a really big pick for our mid because like our Sage was not liking this mid push at all. She was hating it because the amount of pressure that she was receiving, like I had to step up and take this fight. Like I said, if it had been Sky, she's here, in the event that Reyna does go here, and now she's getting pressed by two. She can't get out. She has to win a gunfight where she's dead, and even then it's tradable. She doesn't have a dash. So like running these defaults, it plays a different game. But let's take a look at like another round. So something that we were doing a lot too is we were doing a let's see. We ended up doing. This is what worked best. Was this. And so this pre-round we're gonna talk about that. This setup here. Let's see. We had Sova playing here in this round, and then Cypher B. It just pretty much looked like this. So we ended up, we do our Viper wall. So you're pretty typical. See, there's our drag point, something like that. And then their Viper wall went down something like this. I think she threw it from this. Probably over here is where she threw it from. Something like that. So, and basically the plan here was, we have, actually in this case, this is what they were doing, is they were doing this. So the idea was like we need mid control. So we send Sage and Sky, the double heal, and the flash, to take this mid control. So Sage can wall mid doors. And then we have Sova to dart through the smoke and get the scans backside. Sometimes we swapped this up. That way we had a heal going this direction. It really just kind of depended on what we thought they were going to do. And in this case, this is what we decided. So, we ended up taking site here. I just dashed on, and it was they basically gave us site, just the amount of pressure that we were putting on. And you see that. We ended up picking off the Sova early, but you see the thing is that in both situations they backed out. Whether you're aggressively pushing something on main site or you're defaulting, retake is really important to keeping kind of this buddy system is really what it is. It's really about playing tradable, because if you don't have anybody to trade you, your life it's meaningless if you die. You can't guarantee. You can't always guarantee that you're good for one unless you have a flank or something, or you're holding a cheese angle that is that you haven't played yet. So when you're trying to hold something like this, if these two hadn't backed out and gone CT in the previous exercise that we just talked about, they both would have been isolate, single, just easy to get kills and easy map control. So retake is a mechanic that you need to, or not even, it's not a mechanic, it's a fundamental that you need to understand, that is applicable to defaults and hard pushes. And so it's all the whole thing about Valorant is really understanding how this stuff all works together. Let's go ahead and talk about this though. This whole mid fight that this ended up being a huge weakness for us is just this slide up, because this Sova had lineups to actually just hit pillar and scan mid. So they would flash out and then the dart would hit. They had the timing for that. So this guy's dead here because she can't play cover, and then Sage is trying to trade her, and there's two out here, and it's just we lost both. We really lost both. So. And the big problem here is, we have spike, we had spike planted. Let's see, where is it? So we had spike planted here, which is not an ideal plant location, but because we didn't have this mid control, this was not a safe angle to play, just because they can just move up to something like this, or they could just spray the box from mid. So this mid control is really important to your A plant. You can back out and go all 5 long, or you can have jet post up here or here. But what ended up happening this turn is Viper falls back, and then Sova is trying to play my cross here, and I'm trying to play this push up to close on him because his weakness is that he gets hard swung here, and my weakness is that I get peeked from long, or like out here. And what happens is you can see that Sova is a lot closer to the pyramid. Actually, I don't even know if you can really tell in this diagram, but Sova's in-game actually a lot closer to the pyramid than the backside is close to the pyramid. So everybody backside has, they have angle advantage on Sova. They can peek more than Sova can see. So I ended up getting picked, and I was like probably about here. So I was trying to stay off this anyway. But the problem is that this water that kind of like this angle, this little curve prevents me from strafing and keeping the cover in that position. And then with the water, you can't see over the half wall, so you can't play that if you're trying to hold it. Because keep in mind that we were in a 3v5 situation. Like, these two both went down without a trade, or 3v4, I guess. And it ended up being something like this. So, all this pressure mid, and we have one person to fight it. And I have no way out. Like, if I dash, dead. Okay? So, and like Viper Wall, we didn't have up because this round plays out a lot faster than we're discussing it. So our Viper Toxin's out, he's recharging that up. So I like there is the chance that like I could time the dash to get out with the Viper Wall and get cover, but it's really hard to communicate those things like when everything is being launched at you, and you might you'll like watch a VOD back and be like, yo, that could have, that's an avoidable way to do it, but it's so difficult to do in game. It really just is that, like, those kind of plays are really, that's what separates like the pros from everyone trying to get there. So like a big credit to that, man. But like just anyway, I continue to think out loud. Like I just end up getting I get killed from backside. I don't even get killed from mid because I just can be protected because of this angle disadvantage. So like, and then they just stormed us. Like this is how they play retake every time on Breeze. Is they just storm through mid. Like just think about like back through this game. Like like this wasn't even like nobody really played Hall all game. Like they just sent a Cypher lurk up Hall and that was it. So, and like we're not even tapping into the whole factor of Hall, which like the mid control on Breeze, man, it's so insane. Like our most successful rounds were just defaults pushing mid. They just committed so much utility and manpower to holding mid, and just it really is just mid, dude. Mid on Breeze is really, it's so fucking important. Like, cause the retake, man, the retakes on Breeze are not that bad. Like you can just if you have mid control, the retakes on Breeze are not that bad. I don't know how many times, dude. If you guys just retaking B site, like this can be Viper ulted like anything. But if you have this mid, like you just have so much fucking power over the retake situation. It's not something that you can just give up. Like you have to fucking fight for the mid. You have to fight for the mid on Breeze. I know that I kind of was talking about the pacing, so let's go ahead and get back into that real quick. On the attacking side, your pacing needs to kind of... I honestly think it kind of revolves around your duelist's position. Like, you don't want to commit further into sight than they have map control. Even on a default, like the big pick is just is getting this mid control out for these two. And like we lost around just because we didn't have the mid control, and you sometimes have to sacrifice the duelist to take different parts of the map, to literally entry into different parts of the map to keep that control, because it's more important than just storming and taking site. Because retake is viable in Valorant. That's what makes this game so beautiful. If it was all about the plant and the plant guaranteed a win, it just wouldn't be the same. It really wouldn't. But anyway, I think that's gonna wrap it up. I just wanted to kind of like really discuss what's going on in my head, like how I'm analyzing. It might be beneficial for you guys. I hope it is. It could also be really boring, and if that case, just let me know. Now I won't do another one of these videos, but maybe we'll go over another map. It just kind of depends on what's pumping through my head. But anyways, let me know.